Hey, everybody.
Hi,
Hey,
Andy.
Kevin.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Carol.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Debbie.
So tonight we have psychic medium Carole Ramsay, and we also have Reverend Kevin Lee, Debbie Duncan. So we're super excited for tonight's show. Reverend Kevin Lee is going to take and host tonight's show for us. So
Absolutely.
go.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy. Well, listen, I just want to welcome Carol, the lovely, beautiful Miss Carol, a dear friend and also a wonderful colleague of mine here in South Florida. And Debbie and Andy, I just want to thank you for allowing us to have this time to bring her forward, because this lady is very unique. And I felt it was very important to have her on the show because she brings a perspective that's very fresh and very exciting, and she touches people's lives. And so I thought that her light would fit perfectly in this show. So that's why I brought her forward this evening. Carol, how's your week been?
It's getting more and more hectic. Thank you for asking.
Well, that's good. Well, listen, I just wanted to announce to everyone just a little bit about Miss Carol. Reverend Carole Ramsay, she's experiencing her very first full conscious incarnation as a divine being in human form in this time, space, and dimension. Considered multidimensional, Reverend Carole has learned to function in this third dimensional density as an executive in the corporate world for many years. And she brings her balanced knowledge through private sessions. She hosts sacred circles locally.
I think we lost Kevin there briefly.
I can't hear him, and he
Okay.
was flickering. So maybe he'll go out and come back in.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll take over for a minute then. Carol, we really know that was just really intriguing what Kevin was saying. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yes, well, just to continue on about this is my first complete incarnation as a human in human form. Multidimensionality is coming, as many of you have heard about the ascension and the awakening and what's going on planet. So I'm one of the many people who are here to help this trajectory to take place, really. And it's to help other people to awaken to their own light. So having been born, let's say, because a being of light to come into this density has to come through the birth channel. There's no other way. And so this was the plan. And so experience density, experiencing form is basically experiencing limitation and separation. And this is the most emotional experience ever, only because as a being of light, there is no duality, you see. There is only light, there is only sound, if you will, and that sound is what we sometimes hear from angelic sounds or stuff like that, celestial sounds. And so to experience a physical body, to experience mind, which is constant chatter, is very debilitating, to say the least. And then coming with all of these emotions, everything between love and fear, and so many in between, it's very distracting, you know. So fear is the first thing to become aware of and to become acquainted to. So a lot of people who are here, I would say some of them didn't make it only because of this fear factor. So you need to be extremely strong and to have support. You know, when I was, one of the questions that Kevin would be asking me, the first one was, how difficult was your childhood? Well, it was like Harry Potter growing up with muggles, you see, because my parents, my mother was a celestial. However, because she had been born under a strict Catholicism, and of course, as you know, religion takes a very big part in programming human beings. And so she grew up with fear, and so she totally forgot who she was. My father, on the other hand, was someone who had had many lifetimes, so he was very firmly grounded, you see. And so he's the one who would say, Carole, don't get involved in this stuff. You know, it could be trouble, you know. And growing up in a Catholic family in Montreal, Canada, there was very little that could support me, you know, because I knew I was fully awakened as a child. So I see, like I do now, I could see energy, I could see color, I could read minds. Oh God, that was, you know. And how many times was I punished for that, because they said, where'd you get that? You're lying. And of course, adults have a way of trying to hide their true feelings, but they couldn't with me. So I was punished a lot, you know, trying to be put into fear mode and to stop talking, you know. But I was little Miss Chatty Cathy, because I had questions for everything, you know. Why? It was, yeah, it was tough for my parents. I can tell you this.
Well, I think
And
it's
so,
incredibly hard for you to be born of with the light and all these, look behind you, all those wonderful gifts that you have, and
yeah,
then to you know, be careful with it. Now, my son was the same way, and
yeah,
I had to tell him, you have to stop reading your friends' minds. Don't
yeah,
tell them. I mean, because he was ostracized from, you know, the group a lot.
yeah.
So, but it's in you, and that's part of you, Carole.
No,
My goodness.
exactly. Yeah. And so, no, but I learned to be quiet because I realized that not everybody was like me. So I learned very young to stay under the radar, if you will,
Mhm.
you know, and just observe. And what happened was I became very angry because I was not being myself and I was shutting up. So the anger was not being expressed. So what do you think happened with unexpressed anger? I became extremely depressed. So I ate. And imagine a celestial experiencing all these wonderful tastes and flavors, you know. So I became a little bit overweight, to say the least, you know. And so, but you know, it was helpful in a way because it sort of balanced out, you know, the depression and everything else, you know. So anyhow, later on in life, I mean, I learned about Weight Watchers and everything else, you know, like most people. But it's very difficult to balance out everything because I'm also an empath. So, you know, it's only lately in the past, let's say 10, 15 years, that I have learned through different tools how to decipher and discern what it belongs to me and what doesn't belong to me, you see. And so with everything that's going on, we've had harmonic concordance, harmonic convergence, the 12-12 and this and that. So we're being bombarded by these energies to help us become crystalline as we are. Oh, there's Kevin again. Bye. Hi there.
Sorry. Go, keep going.
So with this being said, it wasn't easy growing up. However, I needed to experience all this because now there are children who are coming in that are being attracted to me. Not children, I would say, like teens and the young people in their early 20s, and they are experiencing their first incarnation in human form, and they are having a tougher time than I did because the drugs now are so easily available. So it's easy for them to go see a doctor or, and take antidepressants and what they can find on the street as well. So they're mixing, and a lot of them are committing suicide because, as I said, with all of, everything is amplified for a celestial being. So, becoming depressed is very easy. So for these beings who are under the influence, it's easier to attract negative entities, as you well know. So because if they're depressed, they don't have any protection if they take drugs, because that, of course, will, even if it's alcohol, it will attract, and they have no means of protecting themselves from these negative entities who are, I'm finding there are new ones now that are in between dimensions. And so these dimensions, with some of the healing techniques, which are balancing, I've noticed that we all have the 7 dimensions inside of us because we are connected to everything. And so it's in this, what I've created and developed, called Clear the Path, which is, I figured, this is a great name for it because I am clearing the path with whoever is on the table, and I can do it long distance as well. And so I'm able to clear interdimensionally, and these beings who attack and make you even more depressed, if you will, and these young people, a lot of them, they OD, and they, and there are many suicides out there, and those are from celestials who are so innocent, so they come here, and it's like it could cause some concern, but they come here to raise the frequency, to increase love, the love aspect of the planet and everything on it. So some of them have chosen, well, if early death is it for me to open up the hearts of the people who are around me, well, so be it, So there is a purpose in everything.
Carole, when these young people, or even the adults or older adults, what are some of the symptoms that our listeners might recognize as far as where they need to be concerned about working energetically with clearing the path within themselves, that there may be some sort of negative beings that are around them, affecting them?
Right. Well, I tell everyone, every single human being now needs to learn a very simple way to meditate. You need to meditate.
Yes.
Constantly. We need, so that to be able to go within and to find our light. Because to find the light, it's not an easy thing. However, the breath is it's the simplest, and yet it's the most not simple. It's this is our connection. It is our complete and total connection with our divinity, with all that is, with source, capital S, because the breath is life and life is God, if you want to call it God, whatever you want to call it. And so by focusing on the breath, the inhale and the exhale, and it's funny, yesterday I had my weekly, every Tuesday night at 7:30, I have a weekly sacred circle. It used to be Reiki circle, but there are so many out there now, so I call it a sacred circle. And so with the guided meditation, the channeling that I received was to, once again, of course, focus on the breath. And to answer your question, Kevin, it's the easiest answers are all within us, and it is in the breath, not in the inhale, because we figure, you inhale life. The inhale is what makes everybody continuously nervous and agitated and perpetuates the stress because of the breathing that is just above the lungs. So rather you exhale, then you hold before you breathe in again, because the most fearful experience for most people before they go is death. Mm-hmm. And so what is your last experience before death? Your last exhale, right? Your first inhale is when you're born, and then the very last breath, it's not the breath, it's the exhale, that's when you go back. Mm-hmm. If some still have unfinished business, they don't go, they stick around, right, for a couple of days, couple of weeks, or
and so Carole,
Carole,
I wanted to go back to the symptomology. So if I were experiencing what sort of symptoms should I be concerned about working on breath and meditation to clear the path or to detach from these negative souls? What would that be?
Right. It's to find a safe place in your house, in your home, that you feel good, you feel comfortable, and you breathe. You just sit straight, because there is much light that goes through the spine. And what we focus on is the breath. Just to inhale, hold on the count of 4, 3 or 4. So you can inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Andy's trying it.
That was 3 4s.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Like an angel number. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See? And so by doing this, it regulates your breathing. It calms you down. And of course, as you know, there's so many, there's so many other attributes to focusing on slow breathing, that once the person who is agitated focuses on the breath and on meditating, even if it's 5 minutes, you start 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, you get hooked. And this becomes really the best addiction, because you really will get high. It's a natural high, because you will find the silence inside of you. And you will find the light inside of your pineal gland, because everything is being activated now. All we need to do is to just allow it to happen. And by allowing it to happen is just to meditate. Meditate, breathe to find the silence within. And it's within the silence that you will hear the whispers from God.
That's true, Carole. I say in my own ministry every Sunday, I put my congregation through a probably 5-minute meditation, because it's so important. And I say, if you're not meditating, you're not growing, you're not unfolding, you're not reconnecting, you're not going inward. We're so distracted by iPhones and iPads and computers and Instagram, and we're so externally pulled. And every week, so on a Sunday morning, I really require a mandate that we put into the program, my ministry, that 5 minutes, just to give people a time to breathe, to reconnect, to go inward, to sit in the silence, and to feel the presence of spirits all around them, to know that they're not alone. And so it's so important. So I'm glad to hear you mention that, because a lot of people forget about meditation and its importance in life.
Right. And I just want to add this, because most of the time when you ask people to just focus on their breath, I mean, we're always breathing constantly. We have to, right? However, this is probably the very first time in maybe weeks that people just sit and be still and focus on their breath, their connection with their divinity, their connection with God, their connection with the silence, you know, and it's so wonderful. And for a lot of people, it's very uncomfortable, but they need to stay with it, because the mind is all over the place.
Carole, do you have any resources on your website that viewers could go to by chance? Any meditations, or do you have any YouTube channels, programs that people could go and listen to your works?
Yeah, I have some YouTubes. They could just, go on YouTube and put in Carole Ramsay.
Perfect. Okay. And then also your website, if I'm not mistaken, is goddesstouch.net. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And while I'm thinking about it, Miss Debbie, I wanted to remind us, we have a wonderful sponsor this evening by Spiritual Galaxy. And I don't know if while I was offline battling the gremlins in my computer, the ghost in my machine, but were you able to mention Sabine and her Spiritual Galaxy Etsy shop? Because she's got amazing products. I want to make sure we talk about her.
Right. We haven't done that yet, because it's just about time to do it.
Oh, okay.
But Andy's put the picture up, and I actually have, we've seen beautiful selenite wand that she made, and we've seen the talking sticks. Remember, her talking stick is going to be in the next season of the show. Is it Grace and Frankie? With Lily Tomlin is going to be her talking stick. And so, and Jane Fonda's in that show, but she did give me one to show, and she's got a kind of a special quartz in there. It's very kind of rainbow, pinks and purples and things like that. So anyway, she goes, and it's driftwood that she has gotten from the Southern California beaches. And she is a shaman, and so she does a really great job of putting her wonderful energy into her products and everything. So do go to Etsy shop, Spiritual Galaxy. And we thank Sabine. She was watching just a while ago. She said hello.
Wonderful. I wanted to just make sure we got a shout out to her, because she's always been such a good sponsor for the show. And Carole, I wanted to come back to you because have you noticed over the last maybe 5 to 10 years in your practice, in your ministry, have you come across people that seem lost in life, or are you finding a predominance of people who are awakening faster? What are you finding in your work?
Okay, well, let's just say that to compare when I was growing up and trying to find tools, because the only thing in the library was about witchcraft.
Yes, I know.
But there were no spells. Jeez.
I know. I wanted those spells too.
It was all about religion, and that was about it. Now, let's say since I would say about maybe a little bit more than 10 years, it's because everything is speeding up.
Yes, that's what I find.
Yeah, everything is speeding up. So yes, there are more tools, there's more information. And what is happening only because we have more help from other dimensions, from higher dimensions. There are people who are just these wonderful people, these friends of ours, the Pleiadians and the Arcturians, and there's so many others that, yes, okay, there are the reptilians. Everybody knows, the bad guys. However, thanks to David Icke, right? However, there's so much light and light, as you know, light equals information. So there's so much light that is being beamed here all of creation is shifting. However, here in the Milky Way galaxy, I was told, and that was confirmed by other people, that this place here is so important only because it's like a throughway. You see, it's like everybody comes, there are many routes, and the Milky Way galaxy is in the middle of all these routes that go from, the different planetary systems, if you will. So that's why the sun is, very active, and that's only the physical aspect. And so, yes, coming back to, 5 and 10 years ago, now everything is speeding up because, we had, like I said, harmonic convergence, harmonic concordance, the 12-12, everything to speed things up. So it's speeding us up so much that a lot of people are having difficulty. And because of the difficulty, it's only because of the speed. We are spinning so much faster. And so, because we have already ascended, we are already in the 5th dimension. We are already there. What is keeping us bound to thinking that we're still in the 3rd dimension and everything is as it was, is our mind. The mind, our thoughts equals gravity equals density. Right. So
that's true.
So that's why we're having all of these issues, because our physical form is being activated. All of our cells are tiny little chakras. In the center of every cell is a little chakra, is light, and that is spinning. So just imagine with the breath, and we focus on just one and we activate that. And then what happens is, the 100th monkey, the one beside it will be activated. So they'll join. So those two cells will become one light, not a cell, et cetera, et cetera. That is what will create our body of light. And so the physical will be dissolving. Not completely, but from 3rd dimension to 5th dimension. So we will still have this body, I'll still look like this. You'll still look the same. However, it will be so much lighter. So that's when we'll be able to teleport and apport and do this and do that as and be immortal like Babaji.
Absolutely.
So many others,
just going to say, as a lot of saints and yogis and mystics who have generated the luminous bodies.
They are our teachers.
Yes. And so that's what they activated, was that inner light of those chakras.
Exactly. Right. And it all has to do with the pineal gland. So, just check out all of the fluoride that your dentist is giving you, this and that, and it's the fluoride is one of the main killers of the pineal gland and so much others. So,
it dumbs us down as human beings. That's true. My own dentist even fights me constantly.
Yeah, well, change dentists. There's one in Aventura that's really good.
and they literally will argue with me that my information about fluoride is wrong. And I said, but how do you know you're right? I said, because I believe I'm right. And I said, there's 2 different kinds of fluoride.
Yeah.
So we've got to protect ourselves. Debbie, you have a question?
I've just got a comment. I just got into somebody when we were talking about fluoride, and they voted it into our water here.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
I'm so angry. Yeah, I'm so angry.
Well, Debbie, we need to become very knowledgeable of what's being placed in our water, our pills. Now there's also aspartame that's just under the criteria.
Horrible.
And yeah.
I
And
call it
so,
stupid juice.
yeah, but if you I had a reaction to that. Now I'm treating in benzene poisoning that's like in eye drops and it. So it's like they're trying to stop us. They, those who are not light, I mean, who cares who they are? But it's, so we need to be, as you asked me before, Kevin, about, what's the difference between 5 and 10 years ago, there's more information out there.
Yes.
About the light. There's more, we have more tools.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are also more deterrents.
Yes.
Like the fluoride they're putting into the water, like the aspartame they're placing even into our medication. Well, it's like, hopefully, people who are listening will be able to start weaning off their medication, and just, we are what we eat. So, and, go organic and drink lots of water with lemon. I mean, there's everything that is out there. We need to become responsible. It's not for us to tell anybody to stop drinking Coke and eating chips for lunch because they say they're vegetarians. I've seen it, no, I'm vegan,
You must live in
Diet
South
Coke.
Florida, Carole.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, they're at the beach. It's like, oh, well, I'm on vacation. Yeah, well, your poor little liver,
I know,
So
right?
it's like, there's so much information out there, And the fun part of the meditating, for all those who are listening, listen to this. It's like, if you get into a habit of meditating with the breath, just easy, with the breath, to allow, your thoughts to be like waves at a beach. You see them coming in and going out.
Yes.
So little by little, you can detach from all of this that's going on, all this activity that's telling you what to do, and get off your butt and stop meditating because you have this, and that to do and you're late. Well, let go of that. It's like, oh, thank you for sharing, basically, And so what happens is, I just lost my thought, but
No,
it was important.
Larissa just sent a message through, and she's got a very good point. And I heard this earlier, so thank you, Spirit, for getting Larissa to remind me also. But she mentions apple cider vinegar as a fabulous way to decalcify the pineal gland. And I've heard that before. And I actually received a note today from Spirit, a little sign that I needed that for my own body. So Larissa, thank you for being a conduit for Spirit to remind me of what I need in my body today. So
well, it's very alkalining. Yeah, it's very alkalining. If you take just a little bit in the morning.
Yeah, just a little capful. It is a little strange to get used to at first.
It is.
But you eventually can work your way up to a little bit larger amounts. Yeah. And it is a fantastic resource for a healthy body.
It is. Well, it alkalines, and I mean, cancer cells cannot live in an alkalinic body.
That is exactly right.
So just to come back on what, now I just got the information that I wanted to share with you with regards to regular meditation and breathing, is that you're oxygenating your blood and your internal organs so much that, remember that breath is also prana, and prana is nourishment. And eventually, more and more, if you meditate for longer periods of time, you become so relaxed, and your energy level goes up. Your spiritual energy level goes up, that you're not hungry.
That's
you're
right.
Not hungry. You're not thirsty. You are so filled with light and silence and love. You don't want to breathe. You don't want to move.
That's right. And
You
it's the
just
prana
want
that's
to
the
be.
the
You just want
prana.
to be.
Prana is the nourishment. That was the key that you said. Yogis.
Yeah. And I've been looking into it more and more, but it's kind of hard because I'm a Taurus. I love to eat.
Now, Carole,
However, I'm looking into breatharianism, and
wow.
this is something that is hard to do, because we live here and everything is so accessible, but as you know, Kevin, in India, there are a lot of breatharians
Yes.
who, and
Scientifically
it shows
proven.
it's
Yep.
proven that it works.
Yes,
And it's with the prana, and it's with calming the mind and the breath. And imagine that, and of course you can eat when you want, but you don't have to.
Oh,
Yeah, Andy.
I have to comment on this because this is amazing. This brings me back to I must have watched a documentary on this or seen it on YouTube somewhere, and it was a man basically lived off of air.
Mhm.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
you're describing and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is
Living off the
incredible.
breath, living off the
Right.
breath.
Mhm.
But it's you have to start slow. It's like,
Yeah.
running the marathon. You're not just going to get up from your chair at the desk,
And the way the yogis talk about, when I've read these old books by yogis, they talk about in the meditation and in the breath, there's an area right in the back of the head called the medulla oblongata, and they also call it the mouth of God. And and even science knows that it's a peculiar structure in the brain. It's almost like the brain is a receiving structure, but this particular location is where prana enters the human body. And so in the very back, that is where they connect through breath, and then they bring through this cosmic energy, and they basically feed off of it. And they learn to refine the instrument of the human body more and more, closer and closer. And then that as it refines, they're able to receive more and more. Fascinating. And Carole, I wanted to ask you, when people, especially for our audience listeners, what is the best way for them to be balanced in whatever issues that they're facing, whether good or bad? How can they remain in a state of harmony or balanced?
Well, more and more is becoming challenging if they pay attention to the news, if they pay attention to their colleagues at work, if they pay attention to all of this stuff that's going on out there. That's why it's imperative. It's not important. It's imperative for them to find the silence, to find their own silence within.
Nice.
With their breath, and to be in the present moment, to detach from the past, because that's where the fear is. Because what happens is you compare and you judge.
True.
As humans, it's the mind. We judge and we compare. We compare the past with the future. Well, this happened in the past, so this is probably going to happen in the future, so maybe I shouldn't. I took this route yesterday. There was traffic. Maybe I should take another one today. It doesn't mean that there's going to be traffic today. But if you expect, and the other thing is that we are magnetizing so much of our thoughts. So be careful what you think, because it manifests immediately.
Yes, that's true.
Immediately. So be careful what you think about, because
the universe delivers exactly what you're saying.
Oh, it's unbelievable, and the mantras are so important now. So as soon as you be aware, it's the awareness. Be aware of what you're thinking. Be aware that you're talking down to yourself and saying, what am I thinking? This isn't going to work.
Absolutely.
Just change it with a mantra. I have everything I need and want. This is one of my favorites, and it works. It works. I always have money. I always have enough to pay for whatever I want to pay. I always have new clients, and now it's getting more and more and more, because we need to trust.
Yeah, you're stepping into gratitude. I can hear gratitude in your voice when you say it. And that's one of the keys for overcoming a lot of obstacles, especially to accessing the abundance of the universe. The universe, if you're not grateful for what the universe has provided you, I guarantee you the universe is not going to give you an excess beyond that.
Well, you know, my father and I are one, you know,
Yes.
you've heard this one before. Well, it's not just believing, you know, it's like reading all these great things, you know, about this guy and this one and this one. It's very nice to say, yes, I believe this is true. However, once you start to meditate and once you pick up, you know, some good vibrational mantras to help you through your negative thinking,
Yes.
you will know. Rather than believing, it's no, because I know that I trust emphatically and completely that I have everything I need and want.
Yes.
I know emphatically and completely, and this is someone, you know, I'm telling you, I was, you know, in the corporate world for over 30 years with a paycheck, with a 401k. So it's like when I transitioned to finally do what I was supposed to do full time, it was tough for the first 5 years, but it's like, so worth it, you know? And so now I can share with everybody to just trust and complete, you know, and it's like source is my only and true
Absolutely.
love
Debbie,
of my life. You need to make God the love of your life.
Debbie, you have a question?
Well, I had a comment again. Carole, when you said 5 years, I was like, exactly. When I retired with the government, it was 5 years, and that's an important thing. I resonate with that.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe it's because we've been programmed with that, Debbie. Because remember, it's like I've always heard, well, in this lifetime, I've always heard that if you start a business or a practice, it takes you 5 years. It's like, you know, you start a new habit, it takes you 21 days for the new habit, or 21 days to stop a bad habit. I think to really get into it, you know, like to get all the nicks out and everything, it takes 5 years for a business.
I agree.
It has to do with this as well. You know, you get used to it because we're stubborn.
Yes.
This is not us, you know, as right, of course not. But the mind that's, you know, hardcore belief structure that is all about the illusion. It's an illusion. There is nothing out there. So start creating what you want, guys.
Absolutely, Carole. You're saying it. That's very true. And I think, you know, I could just listen to you for another hour. I know that we don't have that much time, but everything you touch on is exactly what I'm speaking on in my ministry as well. It's what I can feel coming from spirit through me. It's coming through you. It's coming through others that I'm hearing. So it's wonderful to hear this confirmational information that you give because it's very much on point for what I think will benefit, especially our audience, our viewers. And Debbie, I wanted to ask you, did you want to talk about Sabine again and share her sponsorship and then maybe do some readings?
Sure. So we are so lucky that we have a lot of Etsy sponsors, and Sabine is our sponsor right now, and she makes the most wonderful talking sticks and wands and smudge sticks and all of those things with her shaman training and experience. She also is trained in Reiki, so she puts good energy into everything. And so what you're seeing is her beautiful I would say I call it a sculpture of driftwood that she's found. She's put great energy in it. She puts a charm in it, and she puts these wonderful feathers and everything. I remember getting a beautiful card from I'm going to call a young man with a beautiful feather in it. Thank you, Kevin. I still have it right here. And so she just makes these great creations. Do check out her Etsy shop, which is Spiritual Galaxy, and look at her great things. And you won't be If you get some of her stuff, it's got great energy and she's got great
The
prices.
sage, the smudge sticks are beautiful.
Aren't they great?
Oh,
I'm in love with the ones that have the roses in it.
I
Just
know.
gorgeous.
I know.
Yeah, I
Sucker
love
for a
it.
smudge stick.
Oh, thank you, Kevin.
That's wonderful. So, what would we like to push into now? Just readings? Is there anyone particular that you wanted to bring up?
Actually, is it Monica that is on?
Yep.
Monica has been talking to Andy and I, and she says that she wants to know, why does a ghost appear to her family? And so I was working on it a little bit while you guys were doing your thing. And I want Monica, the ghost that you have is, we'll call him a ghost, but I'm really going to say that it's a family member that's there out of love.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely got that they're there to be there and be along with you, because I feel like there's a little bit of money issues and different things like that. And I want to go more in a male type of spirit here. Yeah. So I even want to go maybe like a grandfather type of thing. But I feel like that. Don't worry at all about this, because I know that there's magnified fears about this. Bring it down, because it's just a family member that's there out of love and to help you. Anybody else have a comment about that?
Just that I was sensing everything you said 100%. I just felt like this person in spirit, this gentleman, older gentleman, needed to bring closure. Wanted to. There's a sense in the family of a loss of this person, but the reality is there is no death. There is only a continuity of life, and so I want you and your family to know. And that's what this person is trying to do, is to let you know they're still whole, but they're in a light body. They're in their spiritual body. They're healthy. They're in a good state, in a good place, but they're just concerned to make sure you understand that message. That's kind of the feeling that comes across. They want to close that gap and let you know that they're doing well. They're alive and living.
Anybody else?
Yeah, well, once they let go, the family members, there's one family member in particular who just does not want to let go to this person, constantly thinks about them. And I think there's a little bit of guilt and also a little bit of loneliness, a lot of loneliness. And these are the emotions that are holding the spirit from moving on.
Yes.
And so, Monica, maybe to have a talk with either your grandmother or the daughter or someone who just does not want to let go because he died too soon or this, or for whatever reason, we all need to go, and move forward even after the physical form. There are other realms, and this person who is filled with love for all of you is staying behind because of a loved one who cannot let go, cannot say goodbye, and it's time to say goodbye. Lovingly, but to say goodbye.
So, Monica, I feel like in the past, it really was hard to let go. Really, really hard. I have healing over this right now. And I do feel like there's a message for someone in the family that to more or less that to look forward to the future. It's going to be more prosperous, because I feel like there's a new job or something coming in. Okay, so a little message there. It's all okay. It's somebody in the family, okay? Very much a lot of love there. But please, we want to make sure that he gets to go forward. So say your goodbyes and send your love, and hopefully that can happen for your loved one.
Marvelous.
Thank you. Do we want to do a couple readings? Did anybody ask for anybody need a little checkup or a little question to look at? And we will be giving away a Starbucks card.
Ooh, love Starbucks.
Soon.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It looks like Lisa Ashton, our friend that was on our show. Hey, Lisa. She would like a quick reading about her dad who has passed.
Can you put her comment up, please?
I see it up.
I have Monica up. Okay, no
Me
worries.
too. Me too.
Oh, do you? Okay, that's weird. I will pop out and then come back in.
Okay. I'll go ahead and do a quick look and
Yes, go ahead.
whatever you want to do.
Okay, Lisa, I'll tell you what I'm picking up right away. Your father in spirit is doing quite well, actually. I think he's even very surprised. He must have been very traditionally based, because I get a sense that he's totally shocked by what the spirit world has to offer. And there's also this sense of being mesmerized. I think he had one perspective of what it was going to be like because of what he was told. And then now it's just a land of magic. And there's also a lady at his side, and it feels like a sister energy to me. And they are having really the most special relationship. It's almost like they didn't get to have a relationship in life. Now they're having it in spirit. And so it's a beautiful reunion type energy. And I hope that helps. Anyone else? Did you get a reading? Get some information?
No, I don't have anything.
No problem. Debbie probably does.
I do. Lisa, I do have like what he's talking about, business. More like maybe that you're working from home or something, but I get this really wonderful business. He's telling me more success is coming in for that. Yeah, I've got the father type of energy, but he's telling me for you, money minded. You're going to get something that you really want. I've got a lot of people that are going to be coming in around you, and I feel like this is really good and positive, and I feel like it's going to be prospering things for you. But he's telling me all about the business, so I feel really good. Business is going to be really better, even though maybe we feel like we should be making maybe a little bit more money now. I'm getting more prosperity coming in, more people around this business too, which I really like. I feel like that you had some kind of awakening or some kind of a big take up about understanding your life. And so I got to say, this was meant to be. It was meant to happen. It gives you clarity in what you want. So I get this, that this happened, but he's talking all about this business coming home to success. So just take that on with both hands and go for it, because that is just wonderful. And we need to prosper all our metaphysical businesses.
Yes,
we need to,
Yeah.
don't we? Oh, yes.
I see.
Absolutely.
Lisa also mentioned that her father came through a tipping table for her, and I think that's fabulous because I love the tipping table. So yes, Debbie.
I got one. I just got a tipping table.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I know it.
It's
I
gorgeous.
can't wait.
You better love it while you got it, because they can get rowdy with those tables and crack them.
Maybe this is, that's why I wouldn't let them have the 150-year-old table.
Thank you.
I got this one, but this would be a good time for me to mention that on the 24th, on Sunday, we're going to go live on the Facebook page with a live streaming seance.
Wonderful.
I know, it's going to be really great. My
Good.
group, the Dead Talk, we have 6 mediums, paranormal investigators, and a videographer. And
Awesome.
I think we're going to make it more of an intimate thing where we have 3 mediums and an investigator and someone filming. But we're going to be live, you guys.
Wow.
Keep your spirits up.
What time?
It's going to be early. It's going to be 7 p.m. Pacific time, and we have it all posted.
Awesome.
So, and then a little shout out that Janine, our favorite medium, will be on the show on the 27th.
Great.
Now, I am going to break a little news. Everybody get your Kleenex out. a wonderful opportunity has come to Kevin
Uh-huh.
to follow his passion and his dream of trance. And
Mhm.
so he's unavailable on Wednesdays to do the show, but
Yeah.
we'll be coming back and
Yep.
and keeping his keeping in the news here with us now and then.
Absolutely.
And we're
Absolutely.
so excited for you, Kevin.
Thank you. I'm very excited too, because I've been asking Spirit for months now to please, please, please help me put together a group, a development circle for trance mediumship, because I've been feeling since early fall last year that was the next level of my development. I've studied it and I've read books about it and I can tell you how to do it, but I've never sat for development because all of my development went into platform mediumship, doing public readings. So Spirit finally said it's time to sit for trance mediumship and learn a new style. So they literally keep providing me with opportunities, and suddenly this group just sprang up and formed. But it literally can only be on a Wednesday evening, which steps into my time with all of you guys. So I had to make a decision, and I always follow Spirit.
Oh, you made the right one. How wonderful. This is what you wanted, and we're so happy for you. And you'll be giving us updates, and maybe you'll post something now and then on the fan page. I do want to tell everyone that we have guests already, still booked. We're still going to be here.
Wonderful.
Hi, Edgar. And so we have a lot of fun things coming up with shamans and mediums and cemeteries and all kinds of neat things.
I'm so proud of you, Debbie, because you guys have expanded the program, and now there's this, wonderful seance paranormal experience, and there's like nothing like it on the internet. So I think this is going to be fantastic as a draw for viewership and for people, for education, to show people seances are not scary, not like Hollywood says.
Yeah, my whole thing, I think the mission is to make sure that people know that we can communicate with the other side.
Yes.
And I have a very high sense of that we need to be validated, we need to be accurate, so that we can have this, good reputations, and we can really help people in so many ways, people that are grieving, or like Carole. Carole, you're facilitating a huge thing on the planet right now.
Yes, she is.
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Carole. Thank you.
I mean, your what you're bringing is the really huge thing of enlightenment and taking care of us, getting on our paths, and that's wonderful. But we're going to still be around. Janine and I having a lot of fun, and hopefully that Andy will be dropping in on some Sundays. We were just talking about banshees and having fun on St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're having a good time. Anyway, that's all I have, but giving out a Starbucks card. And Carole, can you think in your mind a number from 1 to 100, including 1 and 100? Keep it a secret. And everybody else, our viewers, start posting only one number. You guys are great at putting many numbers, but one number per person. Either 1, anything in between, to 100, including 100. Post it. I'm going to send you a Starbucks gift card. So hopefully we'll start getting some guesses. Get in. Carole's giving that number out telepathically. You want to win that latte. It's a latte, a hot chocolate. Do you guys need coffee? Like I never had coffee until I was around 40 years old, and then now I have to have it, and
yes,
it's so good.
Absolutely. I love coffee. Love.
Larissa, post a number, Larissa.
Thank you, Larissa. I appreciate it.
Edgar, I see you. Put a number on.
All right, they're coming in.
Actually, guys, I loved coffee. When I was doing the dairy, it was, coffee yogurt, coffee ice cream. I loved coffee. Then all of a sudden, after regular practices of the breathing. And guess what? I woke up one morning and having tried to quit coffee, quit the caffeine, you end up with the headaches the following day, because you need the caffeine. That morning, I decided it's enough for me. Because of the caffeine, not because of the taste. I love coffee. And I just go into Starbucks with a friend just to smell the coffee, But no, I stopped the caffeine. And I didn't get any headache, anything. So when the time comes, it's like, just go for the Starbucks, man. It's like the best coffee in the world. It's the best in the world. If you're going to go for coffee, go for the Starbucks.
All right.
And so, Debbie, I have everybody's name and number, what they chose. So
good, because I couldn't catch up with Andy. I'm going.
I took care of you.
Okay.
So did you get the number that I was thinking about? Because I can't see.
No, you tell us.
You tell us.
Number.
It's number 11.
Well, that would be Leisha Ashton.
Woo-hoo! Oh, she got right on.
Congratulations.
Wow.
She gets brownie points for being a medium.
Love it.
Telepathic. There you go.
Okay, Lisa, you have to private message me on the fan page your email address, and I will send you a Starbucks e-card. Well, Kevin, you get to wrap us up and say our goodbyes.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you again for this amazing experience here with Psychic Fixes. Carole Ramsay, Reverend Carole Ramsay, my dear friend and colleague here in South Florida, an amazing light worker. I'm so very proud to share with everyone. She brings so much inspiration and healing wherever she goes. And that's exactly the meaning of life, is to share the light that we are with all of those on our path. So I thank you for who you are and the example that you are. And I just love you. So great to see you. And Andy, you're an amazing young man. You and your intuitive abilities. I've said it before. There's so much potential wrapped up inside, and so many opportunities around you. I think I heard that there's some interesting business opportunities coming your way. So keep your eyes open and your ears peeled, aware of what's around you, because there's something good coming your way. And then Debbie, also, you're just an amazing woman, because you can do everything. And it's just nice to see someone who's passionate and driven and just gives 100%, because not many people will get off their mushrooms and shine their light. And that's what you're doing.
I love that.
We're
going to keep in touch, because Kevin, we're going to promote the heck out of your book or your tapes, because I know they're coming.
Yes, they are. I literally just gave final approval on my last CD cover. You must be psychic. So I'm waiting for that little file.
They tell me that.
I'm waiting for that little file to come from Romania or somewhere in the world. And then it all gets distributed, both of my albums, into CD Baby, Amazon, iTunes, YouTube. That's coming really, really fast. So I literally, a lot of good things are coming my way. I know it.
Okay, well, we will be promoting all of that. And, and at some time, you'll have to do a show at some point with us to tell us about all your wonderful products.
Absolutely. I'll have some crazy stories for you guys. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to close up this evening by saying goodbye to everyone. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And keep shining your light. Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.